Hello world, Cozzy here with this week's roundup of Geek Movie news. Starting off this week with Thor 2. Now, despite still not having a screenplay to work from, Marvel have set a time period for starting filming this Thor movie, which will be released in November of 2013. And that is going to be sometime in the summer, according to Tom Hiddleston. Now, Hiddleston, as you may know, is playing Loki again, like he did in Thor 1, and also will be doing in the upcoming Avengers movie. And he stated that this week that all he knows about the film is that shooting will start in London in the summer, and that the director will be Alan Taylor, as I mentioned a couple of weeks back. Now, if this is all true and it's locked in, and coming from a major cast member, you can pretty much believe this, then don't be too surprised if Marvel do come to an agreement pretty quickly with a screenwriter for a new draft of the script. Some bad news for anyone looking forward to the Warner Brothers adaptation of Akira, as it looks like it's been shelved, at least for the short term. Now, basically, the problem seems to be Warner Brothers aren't happy with the amount of money that is going to be spent on this movie. The budget was set at around 90 million, and they want to scale it back to between 60 and 70 million dollars. This has caused the production office in Vancouver to be closed and everything about this movie to be shelved. Another reason behind this might be, according to rumours online, that Warner Brothers aren't particularly happy with the script that was apparently originally approved, and that they want a redraft of that script before they're going to go ahead with this movie. So looks like we're not going to be getting a Western Akira movie anytime soon. More bad news this week, this time about Kick-Ass 2. Now, co-writer of the first movie, Jane Goldman, has come out speaking to MTV News, and she said that basically Matthew Vaughn probably won't be directing the sequel. Now, just to give you a direct quote, she said, "I think the only thing that is fairly sure is that right now Matthew doesn't have any plans to direct it. He and I are not currently talking about writing it either." So it now appears that the pair will more likely be on the production side. They'll be producers, or at least executive producers, of the movie. And yeah, this is almost inevitable. Vaughn is sought after now in Hollywood. He's had some big successes, of course, with Kick-Ass and X-Men First Class, and he's got quite a few projects lined up, so it was almost inevitable this would happen. As sad as it is, because I think he was a fantastic director on the first movie, it doesn't look like he's going to be doing the second. MGM and Screen Gems are working on a new adaptation of Stephen King novel Carrie, which was made into what is now a classic horror movie in the 1970s. Now, the reason that they're giving behind actually doing this remake, this new adaptation, is that they wanted to make something that is closer to the actual story in the book, rather than what was shown on screen in that original horror movie. It seems reasonable, but with the movie being such a classic and so many people saying it's, one of the best horror movies ever made, is there really a need to remake it? I don't think so. I mean, there was that terrible sequel made in not very long ago, and yeah, it seems like a strange idea to take something that is already heralded as so good and remake it. But yeah, Hollywood has a thing for this, as you guys know. I'm not a fan of it. Kimberly Peirce has been put forward as a possible director anyway, on this project, and Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa is apparently going to be writing the screenplay. So I just have to wait and see what they come up with. But yeah, Carrie could be getting a remake. More remake news this week, this time about The Evil Dead. Now, Evil Dead, as I've mentioned over the last couple of months, is getting this remake, and it's going to be very different from the original trilogy. First of all, the big thing for me, and the thing that will be holding me back from going to see this new movie, is that Bruce Campbell's character Ash will not feature at all. So there'll be no Bruce Campbell, and there'll be no recasting of the character either. In fact, this new movie is going to be more of a straightforward horror, and completely lacking of any of the comedy elements that would be seen in the original movies. Not a big fan of that idea, but that's what they're going for. apparently now the new movie has its lead character, and that's going to be Mia, who will be played by Lily Collins. Now, Mia as a character, from what I've read, will be a drug addict who's recently lost her mother and then has to deal with the undead and the demons unleashed from the Necronomicon. So a very, very different, obviously, take on the Evil Dead franchise, and we'll just have to wait and see what they can do with it. According to Variety, there's been quite a bit of new casting for J.J. Abrams' Star Trek sequel this week. Firstly, two British actors, that is Noel Clarke and Benedict Cumberbatch, have both been cast in the movie. Not much known about Clarke's character other than he will be married to a character played by another person who's been cast, and that is Nazanin Contractor, who was in 24. She will be playing his wife, but Cumberbatch is probably going to be the main villain of the piece. Now, for me, that gets rid of all of this rumour that has been, the past sort of 3 or 4 months, that Khan would be appearing. Khan is a classic villain from the original Star Trek series, and obviously Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, one of the best Star Trek movies. So yeah, I don't think we're going to have Khan as the main villain of this piece, and maybe now we can move on and look forward to filming starting very, very soon, from what Abrams has said in recent interviews, and hopefully Cumberbatch can be a great villain. Heat Vision reports this week that Sony Pictures are in negotiations to finance and distribute Seth Rogen's directorial debut, which will be called The Apocalypse. Now, this movie is based on a short film called Jay and Seth vs. The Apocalypse, and will star the two main actors from that short film, obviously Rogen himself and Jay Baruchel. There will also be supporting roles from Jonah Hill, Danny McBride, James Franco, and Craig Robinson, who will all be playing fictitious versions of themselves, dealing with life after the apocalypse. Now, it sounds to me like a really interesting project. Got some very, very funny people in there, all of which, with the exception of Baruchel, were in Pineapple Express. So, yeah, I've got high hopes for this. Hopefully, Rogen can pull it off behind the camera the way he makes us laugh on camera. Cosmic Book News this week reported that in The Man of Steel, the new Superman movie, we may see a small role for Lex Luthor, and not just that being a surprise, but Bradley Cooper is the man that's been put forward as playing Luthor himself. Now, for me, although there's been no confirmation, this is great. This is really good casting. I think it's about time that Cooper did take a more villainous role. He's always seen as the sort of the hero in the last couple of movies he's appeared in. There haven't been comedy movies, and before that he was the sort of romantic lead in rom-coms. So maybe it's time to stretch his acting ability and see if he can take on the role of the world's most intelligent man, Lex Luthor. Finally this week, according to The Envelope, Andy and Lana Wachowski's new project, Jupiter Ascending, has been picked up by Warner Brothers. Now, not much is known about the project at the moment, other than it will be a science fiction movie, and that Natalie Portman is attached to star in the movie. Once more is known. As always, guys, I'll pass it on to you. Okay, thanks for watching this week's Geek Movie News. As always, if you like this video, down there is the like button. You click on it and you let me know that you like it. In the description box is a link to my Facebook and to my Twitter, so you can follow me, find out when new videos are coming out and what's going on in the world of this channel. If you want to leave a comment, you've got something to say, or maybe you've got some news that should be included in next week's Geek Movie News, you leave a comment or send me a message on here or via Twitter or Facebook. If you missed last week's Geek Movie News, there's a little link there. You can click out and watch that. If you missed my 5 problems with modern FPSs versus old school FPSs video, there's a link just there. Click on it. I really do hope that gaming fans out there have enjoyed it, and pass it on to all of your friends. Until next time, guys, thank you very much for watching, and au revoir.